we are as lonely as we've ever been. Why is that? When in seconds we can reach out and connect with anyone from around the world. As an example, I have about 5,000 Facebook friends. Now, you might ask, how many of those do I know well to say hello to? And that would probably add up to 500, given my involvement with Kenpo 5.0 and the martial arts in general. So that would be about 500 to say hello to. How many of those people would offer to put me up overnight if I stayed in their home around the world? Maybe 50. How many of those people do I know intimately? Maybe 10. When social media first started, we looked at it as some sort of saviour. Here is an opportunity to connect like never before, to share our secrets with people in a message, but also to connect with people from around the world, people we don't get a chance to touch base with very regularly. And that's turned out to be the case. But if you'll forgive the analogy, Facebook is to friendship like a sex toy is to lovemaking. It's a parody of relationships. It's a caricature of the real thing. And so what's happened is, as we spend more and more time inside, more and more time on a screen, and less time face to face with the people that we care about, and less time with people creating relationships and learning the art of intimacy. As with all of this changes, we become more and more lonely, less able to create and maintain lasting relationships of any meaning, and less able to manage relationships when they go sour. So disputes, disagreements, conflict, arguments, etc. One of the truisms about communication is that only about 10% of the communication between people is measured in terms of the words that we choose, and that the other 90% is made up of your body language and your tone of voice, the way you express it, your overall demeanour. So what happens in a text message or in an email, we're removing that 90%. We simply chop it out and we just leave 10% of our words, 10% of that communication, which is only words, for the other person to then interpret. And they will interpret it. And as if you followed my posts, you'll know they interpret it based on what they've already been involved in, or what they've already experienced in the past. And that may not be healthy. So now you know why we reach out to those little emojis when we text someone, because it allows us to throw a little winky face or a smiley face or a raucous laughing face. We attach those to the end of our phrase to let the other party know how we're delivering the message beyond the words. What attitude are we adopting as we express ourselves? And why we need those is because we're lacking that body language and tone of voice in a text message. It's really no wonder that there are misunderstandings based on emails and texts. And I'm sure at some stage in your lives, you've all received a text or an email, a message, and you've thought, Jesus, what's up their arse? Well, that's the way it happens, and the reason is simple. you don't know how they're feeling because all you get is words. Words will fail you. Facebook and other social media forms are a simulation of our lives. Well, we post pictures of ourselves in our happiest moments with our loved ones doing the best things on a beach or on a boat, flying off, jet setting off to somewhere exotic. But that's not life. That's no one's life. And so what it is a charade. So those posts are just a charade of what's going on in the life of that person. It's not a true and accurate reflection of their life, nor is it a true and accurate reflection of yours. And so to create friendships around that lacks depth. It lacks the true meaning that we as people, we as humans, crave. In fact, Professor Jordan Peterson, if you don't know who that is, just look him up. But he is quoted as saying, "We evolved to reciprocate." In other words, to give back to each other, to work together. You give me something, I'll give you something. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. And we've evolved a very intricate set of emotional systems designed to respond better to that socializing. And yet here we are spending more time, as I said earlier, more time than ever indoors looking at a screen. Don't quote me on this, but I believe that there was a study conducted in the UK that said the average teenager, I think this was in England, that the average teenager now spends less time outside than a prisoner in maximum sentence prison, because they are allotted 90 minutes every day to spend outside, or 70, 80 minutes or something, which is more now than the average teenager who, apart from school or whatever they're doing, goes home and then sits in front of a screen. And then we wonder why teen suicide is up. We wonder why, when research is conducted and children and teenagers are asked, they feel lonely. They feel marginalised, disenfranchised somehow, as if they're disconnected from society. Well, of course they are, because we've glorified social media. And so I encourage you, I urge you to have a look at that. Conflict can escalate only when we continue to disconnect from each other emotionally and socially. Righto, if you found this stuff useful, click like, hit share, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Now, before I go, look at this idiot. Oh, who's that bloke?
Me.
Charlie Bucket. How you going, mate? How was your day?
Good.
Yes, Charlie. Say good day.
Good day.
Have a good day.
Yes.
Good, let's walk. See you, folks. Take it easy.